Islam, Moors?
Islam.
How's everyone on the holy night?
All is well.
Praise Allah. I rise, giving all praises to Allah, the Father of the universe, cherisher and sustainer of all the boundless universes. We extend the highest of honors to his holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam?
Islam.
We extend high honors as well to his forerunner, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who did indeed warn and stir up the nations. Islam, Moors?
Islam.
We extend high honors as well to the Moorish flag, the red flag with the green 5-pointed star in the center. 5 points representing love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These 5 points represent the 5 highest principles known to man. Islam?
Islam.
Extend honors as well to the American flag, also known as the Stars and Stripes. This flag exists as a constant reminder that the European owes you the Moors with compound interest. Islam?
Islam.
This is also the flag of our birth. Islam, Moors?
Islam.
We extend honors to the noble Sheik staff and noble Vanguard staff who keep the peace. Giving honors to you, the ills and bays, for without you, there is no Moorish movement. Islam?
Islam.
How is everyone once again?
Islam.
Praise Allah. It's always interesting when the Moabites have to speak before us, because they set the altar on fire.
That's right.
We have to put, I got a fire extinguisher over there somewhere. I can put this boy out, but praise Allah, Sister Mahdi, for that demonstration. Praise Allah for today's holy day. Islam?
Islam.
Because without our holy day, Moors, we would not have a time to realign ourselves. Islam? Please put all phones on vibrator silent, please. Without our holy day, we wouldn't have time to realign ourselves, right? So we've picked up this term more by way of our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, who started his demonstrations in the year 1913. Right. Islam?
Islam.
Before Prophet Noble Drew Ali, this word more had been buried. Islam?
That's right.
It was buried in a shallow grave, but nevertheless it was buried. Islam? So it would be kind of ungrateful for any Asiatic to pick up the word more, put it on a card, or put it on a piece of paper, or to even put it on the fez, because the fez was buried for you.
That's right.
They took your fez and put jewels all over it. Right? But they had to keep the names of the ancient civilizations that you established. So on there it might say Bay or Il, or it might say Medina or Mecca, and so on and so forth, right?
Right.
But when our prophet came to us, he revealed our fez back to us and taught us that the fez, a Moorish American Muslim fez. There's a difference. The Moorish American Muslim fez represents the plain truth.
Yes, sir.
Right? See, the truth, you don't have to put clothes on the truth, do you? Right? If you ever called on to tell the truth, if you ain't got nothing to hide, you take a deep breath and just tell the truth. Islam? But if you got something to hide, you put a tuxedo on that boy. Present it. How's that look? Islam? That's what a fez with jewels all over it is. Bound on the side. They take it, lock it down on 33.
That's right.
Islam? But the prophet freed our fez back and gave it 360-degree motion.
Teach.
Islam, Moors?
Islam.
So we give honors to our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and we are grateful. In fact, he gave us a degree called gratitude.
Islam.
Right?
Indeed.
Because again, it is of the attributes of Negro, black, colored, Ethiopian, African American, etc., to be ungrateful.
That's right.
Because the Negro mentality is give me, and I don't have to give anything in return.
Islam.
See, anybody that's selling you a bill of goods that say you don't have to do this, 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 right? But never tell you what you have to do.
Right.
They're setting you up.
Islam.
Prophet gives you a degree called caveat emptor,
Yes, sir.
right? Which is Latin, right? Him being the master he's telling you something. It's a key.
That's right.
Go study Latin. He ain't gonna tell you he's a master.
Islam.
But he said caveat emptor, left it up to you to look it up.
That's right.
When you look it up, you find out that caveat emptor means let the buyer beware.
That's right.
Right? So this came with a caution sticker on it. Moorish American. Anything that's Moorish comes with a caution sticker on it. Now, you can play with this if you want to. Right? You can try to tear it up, but it's going to tear you up every time. Islam?
Islam.
But as is tradition and customary for us in the Moorish Science Temple of America, I'd like to start in our Quran in the Moorish Science Temple of America on the chapter of social duties. Which will be chapter 30. For non-Roman readers, that is 3x, x, x, x. Don't feel bad if you don't read Roman, you're not Roman. Chapter 30. Let me hear Islam when you're there.
Islam.
Chapter 30. Holy instruction from the prophet. The social duties. I'll wait. I still hear pages turning. We're good?
We're good.
Praise Allah. Holy instruction from the prophet, the social duties. When thou considerest thy wants, when thou beholdest thy imperfections, acknowledge his goodness, O son of humanity, who honored thee with humanity, endowed thee with speech, and placed thee in society. Remember that word, boys. Society, to receive and confer reciprocal helps and mutual obligations. Protection from injuries, thy enjoyment of the comforts and the pleasures of life. All these thou owest to the assistance of others, and couldst not enjoy but in the bands of society. That is a mouthful right there. I could write, I'm an author, I could write 12 books on that verse. Islam? Why? Because the Negro mentality teaches you that you do things by yourself.
That's right.
You just do you. I got mine, you get yours. Y'all heard that before? Islam? So when somebody comes to you selling you something that talks about you can be a sovereign, they say, by yourself, and you don't have to connect yourself with a nation, caveat emptor. Because when I think of Chinese, I don't think of one person. The Mexicans, I say the Mexicans. When was the last time you said Mexican? Singular. It happens, but it don't happen often. The Jews. Islam? Now it's the LGBT community. Islam? It's not the LGBT solo individual. The LGBT community. And now, they know, and they're demonstrating the prophet, the political side, obviously, right? And now they have more political power than you. You know, back in the church, we said, well, tell the truth and shame the devil. Where Al Gore says, an inconvenient truth. You know, we don't like to hear stuff like that, but it's real. That's right. Islam, it said it was up on, I think it's 10th and Piedmont. They were given the okay by the city to paint the crosswalks rainbow. Permanently.
Crazy.
That's called power. It's a reflex. It'll change if the conditions change.
That's right.
But nevertheless, it's going down because they've organized themselves around an idea as one body. Islam? That's right. Moving forward. Verse 2. It is thy duty, not option, it is thy duty, therefore, to be a friend to mankind, as it is thy interest that man should be friendly to thee. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was a master. If the prophet mentions something more than once, pay attention to it. The word friend is mentioned twice in that verse. Islam? Friendship. How many of you have a real friend? Real friend. You know, Johnny Gill had a song years ago, Fair Weather Friend. You know, they're good when the sun is out. But when the cloudy day comes, they ain't nowhere to be found. Right? That's what we're accustomed to. The word friend means nothing to our people. Right? Because we've never experienced it. Because to be a friend, you have to demonstrate love. That's right. And to demonstrate love, you have to know what love is. That's right. See, our prophet, the first 2 lessons you receive in the Moorish Science Temple of America are to learn to love instead of hate, and to be yourself and not someone else. Right? He said to learn to love instead of hate because he knew you already knew hate. That's right. Right? But you have to apply yourself and study up to what love is. Islam? Love is when you can look at your brother or sister, brother man or sister woman, right? And see the divinity, that seed of perfection, that seed of the Creator in them. That's what makes you humble out and respect them. Right? But if you're only caught up in the things of the flesh, right? Material gain, oh, she got a new dress. I wanted that dress. I can't stand her. Islam, Sister Nobia? Right? I'm gonna say the nerve. He got a new car with some rims on it. Who do you think he is? Islam? All right? Because of material gain, not realizing the fact that the seed of perfection that's in him may have inspired him to do a particular economic thing that brought that. And if you demonstrated love, you might humble yourself to ask him, excuse me, brother, how do you get those? I want some rims on my car. How do you do that? Right? But if you're a hate-filled, we say hateful, right? But if you're a hate-filled person, right? You might want to, you know, raise your hand to the hazard of his life because of what he has materially. This is the Negro problem, and it's being solved only as it can with the Moorish Divine National Movement. Islam? Verse 3. As the rose breatheth sweetness from its own nature, so the heart of a benevolent man produceth good works. Right? those that do good works, are you supposed to brag about your good works? No, you do it because it's right. Right? The rose, if you study the rose and mysticism, you find out that the rose is a symbol of silence. You see certain ones demonstrating certain orders, and they have like a black suit on, white shirt, red tie, might have a red rose, might have a white rose. It represents the degree of silence, right? Because again, the Negro has always been taught to tell everything that he knows, which isn't much. That's why he's always talking. Because it said, those who say what? Don't know. And those who know what?
Don't say.
Islam? All right? Because the prophet was one, they gave us the example that said, the prophet was speaking, the prophet gave us the example of, if I say I'm going to do a thing, it's already done.
That's right.
Stop telling the world your plans, your strategies, what you plan on doing, how you plan on moving. You think Donald Trump's actually, he might through a tweet. Respectfully. Pray a lot, it wasn't radical agitated. But it's a fact. But most presidents, most U.S. presidents live by something they call, national secrecy. Thing of being a national secret.
That's right.
So they generally don't come out and just tell how they plan on moving. And if they say this is how we're going to move, there's 5 levels of the plan that you ain't seen that's already in motion.
There you go.
Right? But it's a certain level of global maturity that we have to gain. If we're going to be free people, we like saying we're free, but acting like slaves. Right? So if we're going to be a really mature, free people, we have to begin to act like one. Right? How many people have young children that are around, whether they be nieces, nephews, sons, daughters, whatever? Okay? Or even think about yourself. We were all children once. I think, right? Nobody just incarnated at 40, right? That being the case, could you imagine if your mother would have left you in charge of the house at 10? This is my son right here. He's 10. I love my son. I do. With all my heart, I give my life for him. But I know if I left the house to him for a week, for a day, we might be sleeping outside. Why? Because he doesn't have the degrees of civilization yet. He's getting them, because he has fez on his head, so he's getting them. Praise Allah, all praise to Allah, right? But I do realize that if I left the keys of civilization, the keys to the house, to him, it'd be a problem, right? Why was it during slavery time, right, that those that were called slaves were forbidden to enter into contracts or to sue in the courts or be sued in court? Why is this? What was it about the Negro, right, that rendered him incapable of demonstrating in a legal capacity? In fact, they stated that he had a legal incapacity.
That's right.
Why? Because he was a child at mind. Because he was only 3/5 of a human being. Minor. Right? So they say 3/5, right? But they never tell you what they are. Mind, body, soul, nationality, divine creed. If I remove nationality and divine creed from you, you become an animal. You won't be able to honor your forefathers. You don't know who your forefathers were. If I ask you who your forefathers are or were, you start running off names of people who were in bondage. Or were running from Europeans or those who were in power. Right? Or if we name, masterful ancient civilizations, we can't clearly delineate and break it down and how we tie to them now. Right? See, don't tell me who you were 10,000 years ago if you can't tell me who you were 100 years ago.
That's right.
Makes itself no use. To tell me that I built the pyramids and I can't tell you who I was 100 years ago. Because 100 years ago is more relevant to who I am today than 10,000 years ago.
That's right.
Islam wars?
Islam.
Another false bill of goods, people say. Right?
That's right.
They love to dazzle you with all this ancient history. Right? But what good is it if you went to sleep tonight and woke up tomorrow and had no idea who you were yesterday? Wouldn't that be a problem? Islam? It's a reflection. Verse 4. He enjoyeth the ease and tranquility of his own breast, and rejoiceth in the happiness and prosperity of his neighbor. So clearly the prophet's talking about free people. So when so the free man, when he see, or free woman, when they see their neighbor doing well, they feel great.
That's right.
Right? They feel inspired. Because if they did it, I can do it. Islam wars? All right? So when we look at the Chinese and the Koreans, we look at the Koreans open up beauty supply shops in our neighborhoods. selling us fake nails and hair, right? And we hate on them, don't we?
Yes, sir.
We hate on them. Who they think they are, opening up stores in our community. Well, if it was your community, they wouldn't be able to open the stores.
That's right.
Because you would be over the zoning,
Yes, sir.
right? Because can you go to Buckhead and just open whatever you want to open? No, because you have community groups, civic associations, so on and so forth, right? Concerned citizen groups that come in and say, no, we don't want that in our neighborhood. And they'll shut you down. I remember they shut down a European. This is European on European time. They don't talk about that type of crime, right? He had an adult store. Big neon lights and the whole nine. They shut him down. Like as soon as he opened, they wait till he got open. And 3 months after, they was bombarding him at the city council areas. He had to close his doors. I think this was like Smyrna or something like that. Right? So we see these principles play themselves out daily, but we watch it as outsiders. Right? For those that may be taking notes, write down the term cityhood. City with H-O-O-D on the end. Right now, all around Atlanta, you have, smaller municipalities breaking off from larger ones, becoming smaller cities. Johns Creek, Stonecrest, right? Is the newest one, right? Name some others. Y'all know some more? What is it? Tucker? Tucker Clarkston? South Fulton. This was one of the newer ones, right? And why are they doing this? Because ideological differences. We don't like the tax rate. We don't like this. We don't like it. We don't like the zoning. We don't like it. And we feel as though we can do. I think Stonecrest is only 50,000 citizens. That's it. Right? I put out something, a message to our chairman the other day. I said, I need 10 faithful Moorish Americans. Right? And I probably shouldn't be saying this on camera, but praise Allah, this is fine. I need 10 faithful Moorish Americans to go out throughout the communities, throughout the districts. How many districts are there in Atlanta? So we Moorish Americans, we free, but don't know how many districts there are in the city that we want political power in. It's a problem, isn't it? Okay? There are 12. 12 districts, okay? Which has only been passed since like 1996. That's a new rendering, right? But the point is, I needed 10 Moorish Americans to go throughout the 12 districts, right? And bring back 100 names each. That's it. That sounds like a lot, right? We all have phones in our pockets. You probably got about 200-300 people on your phone right now. Now, if you go through your phone and don't have registered voters on your phone, or people that are willing to register to vote, then those people that are on your phone are worthless.
That's right.
Because what you're talking about?
Right.
What you talking about? You're not talking about political power. And if you're not talking about political, every action is a political power. Y'all are clear on that, right?
That's right.
Let me clarify that for y'all. I'm going to take it very base. I know this is the holy day, but I'm going to take it very base so you can relate, because we all relate to this one. We ate today, didn't we? And if you didn't, you're going to eat when you leave here. Right? By way of nature, the way nature runs its course, at the end of that cycle, you're going to have to go to the bathroom, aren't you? When you go to the bathroom and you flush the toilet, that's a political act. You know that, right? Because there's a department of watershed management that deals with water and the sewage underneath the streets and stuff. Right? So the mere fact of your feces going where it's supposed to go deals with politics.
That's right.
But you don't want to deal with politics. Voting don't matter. Is that what the LGBT community said? Why am I using them? Because this is Atlanta. If you know what that community represents in Atlanta. Nationwide, this is ground zero for their community. Right? How did they get there? They got there through political power and voting. Right? Not just, we're going to vote Democrat because they courted us. No. Right? They voted as a block. They move as a group. They move as one thought. Example, look at nature. The Quran of Mecca tells us, often says, look at the bees and how they do, look at the ants and how they, so it points to nature, right?
That's right.
Okay? Last time we looked up and seen a flock of birds, right? Did you ever see one of the birds say, hey y'all, we're going to go this way? Or do they all just move as a body?
That's right.
Because they share one mind, one psychic field, one psychic network. Islam? But us and all our freedom and all our independence and all our arrogance, right? We can't set up one community. Show me one in Atlanta. I'm not talking about the hood, because it went from what? Neighborhood, it was community, neighborhood, now it's just hood. Right? But show me one in Atlanta. Right? I can show you what the Mexicans and the Koreans are demonstrating. Give honor to my brother Uncle Nanton Bay, who took me, and we broke bread and had a nice, nice little powwow. But the more took me on the side of town where the Jews demonstrated, right? So the place where we were at, right across the street, there was the kosher, like the kosher, it looked like a Whole Foods or something, but it was the kosher version of Whole Foods, right? The more told me they got the synagogue in the same area, right? Because when you know strategic thinking, you set the synagogue up first.
That's
Why?
Right. That's right.
Because that's where you gather the people at. That's the nucleus. For Moors, where would that be? The temple. You set the temple up first. This is where you organize your political strength.
That's right.
This is where you organize the clans and tribes at. Islam? Because when I see Asiatics, people with olive tone, wavy to woolly hair, I don't see different nations. I don't care what you call yourself.
Right.
I don't care. I see one nation, different clans and tribes. That's all I see. So we call yourself Israelite? Praise Allah.
That's right.
One of my forefathers was Israelite. His name was Boaz.
Islam.
Right? You call yourself Moabite? Praise Allah. Ruth.
That's right.
Islam?
Islam.
What you call yourself? What you call yourself? Prince Hall? He was an Asiatic. He was related to us. We had that conversation another day. Let's get some political power before we start debating each other.
That's right.
Islam? The Nation of Islam? Praise Allah. Both Master Farah Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad both learned from Noble Drew Ali. Praise Allah. With family. Come on.
That's right.
Now you show me another Asiatic group out there that has as much potentiality to unify people than the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Islam.
Because everybody else says you have to be either this, you can get with this, or you can get with that. Islam?
Islam.
I digress. Let's keep going. Here we get on these tangents. Verse 5. He openeth not his ear unto slander. The thoughts and failings of men give a pain unto his heart. So when somebody brings you some drama or some slander about somebody else, it hurts your heart that they even doing that. It's like, wow. Because you're pitying the condition that you're hearing. Islam? Because free people don't do this. And you can't build a nation built on a foundation like that. Islam? 6. His desire is to do good, and he researcheth out occasions thereof. In removing the oppression of another, he reliveth himself. Right? Moorish Americans, make no mistake about it, are Muslims. Right? If you go back and our Islam is Islamism, which is the old time religion, right? But even if we were to go to the Quran of Mecca tells you that it's the obligation of a Muslim that if he sees slavery or an injustice going down, to stop it.
That's right.
Right?
Islam.
And there's different ways to do it. You could, hands on, go get the authorities, and if you can't do either, denounce it in your heart. Right? But you have to relieve the oppression of another. That's your duty as a Muslim. I don't care if you call yourself, again, I don't care if you're Israelite, I don't care. Because if you're one of peace, one of tranquility, then you're a Muslim.
That's right.
Islam?
Islam.
And if you doubt that, check the files of the Catholic Church and how they classified Asiatics that wasn't Christians. They classified you as a Muslim or a Saracen or a Moor.
That's right.
And they were clear about all the clans and tribes that we came in. Islam?
Islam.
Right? Verse 7. From the largeness of his mind, he comprehendeth in his wishes the happiness of all men. And from the generosity of his heart, he endeavoreth to promote it. Surely Allah speaks the truth through his holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam, Moors? And it just happened to be 7 verses in that chapter. Praise Allah. How about that for signs and symbols for the conscious mind? All right? So, Prophet gives us the degree on social duties. Verse 1, he gave you that degree on society. Right? There's something known as civil societies. Right? For those taking notes, write that down. Civil societies. Right? A civil society, word civil, right, is short for civilization, civilized, civilizer, because you're not civilized, y'all the civilizers. You went around the earth civilizing others, right? But the prophet had to come back and civilize us, because we became the barbarians, while everyone else went forth in our name. Islam? But this Moorish Science Temple of America that was returned to you, there are other various different nations that are demonstrating their form of civil society, right? Anyone have a phone? They could Google something for me real quick. Google Sons of Italy. Sons of Italy. Sons of Italy is a civic association or a civil society that was created for the Roman sons, for of and by the Roman sons, right? So they could organize themselves politically under a republic. Islam? All right? Anyone get it?
I guess something.
Yep. Right? But there's also be signs and symbols.
That's right.
If you don't know the signs and symbols, you haven't been initiated to know what you're looking at.
That's right.
They're gonna realize, they're gonna say this person is profane.
Outside
And
of
the word profane means what more?
outside of
Outside of the temple specifically.
outside of the temple Islam.
Islam, no, same spirit. All right? But this is the whole thing. So if this is one that's outside of the temple, right? Matter of fact, let's do this. You know, I got a Bible here. The prophet said don't throw your Bibles away, right?
That's right.
Praise God. Let's go to Revelation chapter 11. Let me show you something real quick.
Revelations.
Chapter 11. Revelations chapter 11, out of the Holy Bible. It says, and there was given to me a reed like a rod, and the angel stood, saying, arise and anoint the temple of God, and the altar, and those who worship therein. But leave out the outer court of the temple, and do not anoint it, for it has been given to the Gentiles.
That's right.
So those that's outside of the temple, don't even count them. You know where you've heard that language before? U.S. Constitution, right? It talks about Indians who are excluded, and 3/5 of all other persons.
Right.
Islam. So this is a group of people, right? Which technically is the same people, because Indian is a brand too. They don't talk about that.
Right.
Indian is not a nationality either. Don't fall for that. I got Indian in my family.
Right.
That's another slave tactic, by the way. I got Indian in my hair. I got a wave in my hair, so I got Indian in my family. Right? But those that are outside the temple don't count on them, right? Because those that are inside the temple are working on the degrees, all right, of building the temple of the perfected man and woman. Islam? So everything they do daily, as our Sheik has said, acting Sheik has said, right? Everything they do daily is to build themselves to come into that deific life, or man becoming God. There's a word. You know, I like introducing the words, right? Apotheosis. Okay? If you go inside the U.S. Capitol building, right, that your forefathers built, by the way. Y'all clear on that, right? Don't let the Roman style architecture fool you, because Roman style architecture is Moorish.
That's right.
Who do you think taught the Roman sons how to build? Islam?
Absolutely.
You even played with some building blocks back in the day called, which is,
Logos.
That's right.
in the beginning was the word.
That's right.
Word.
I ain't gonna go there. Apotheosis, right? If you go inside the U.S. Capitol building, you walk in, when you get in the rotunda and look directly up where the dome is, inside of there, there's a whole mural, right? You got George Washington, right? One of your students. George Washington and all of these angels around him.
Right.
And that mural is called the Apotheosis of George Washington. You know what apotheosis means? It means to become God. Right? See, the people think the prophet was tripping when it says, will you define the meaning of the word white?
Right.
It says white means purity, purity means God, and God means the ruler of the land.
That's right.
Islam?
Islam.
You go through the book of Revelations, what were all the angels wearing? White. The silent brotherhood that came to free the brother Jesus from the tomb.
That's right.
When they marched and counter-marched on the tomb, what color were they wearing?
Right.
The Sultan of Morocco, what color did he wear when he was in power? The ancient Egyptians, what color linen did they wear?
That's right.
Come on now. And all the ones that wore the white ruled the land.
That's right.
Islam?
Islam.
You got to rule this land before you rule that land.
That's right.
Right? So you got to be God of self before you be God of the world. So the problem is you want to be God of that out there before mastering yourself. It can't be done.
That's right.
Islam?
Islam.
And so Google, when you get a chance, the apotheosis of George Washington, and look at and go to images and look at the images. And you tell me what you see. Right? But anyway, so we were talking about these ones that are of these particular orders and so on and so forth. Islam, these various different Asiatics. Okay? I have this right here, so, and again, we're not going to go into their teachings and anything, I'm just going to show two pictures. United Supreme Council, 33rd degree, ancient and accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Prince Hall affiliation, Southern jurisdiction of the United States of America Incorporated. Okay? In here, you'll see a lot of Asiatics in here. You know, I'll pass it around so you can see it. But anybody recognize this individual here? For the camera. Okay. Does anyone recognize this individual here? Look at the bottom picture. Bottom picture.
Wow.
Let the court say amen.
Amen.
The church say amen. We're gonna pass that around. So what happens is, you're gonna go in there, and let's say you have to talk to one of those individuals, right? What language will you be speaking? And I don't mean English.
Right.
What language are you gonna speak in, right? Because the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, being the master he spoke in degrees. He spoke in degrees of learning, right? See, part of having a civilization is that you have to codify the civilization. Because one thing about being a ruler, you realize that everyone in your domain does not have the want to be civilized. Islam? You know, some people opt out of civilization.
That's right.
These are the ones that we have to help. These are the ones that we call the disenfranchised.
Right.
These are the ones that, here at Temple Number 19, and what I like to affectionately call our Ministry of Love, but through Equilibrium 360 and the Oracle Institute, to go out and feed the homeless. I don't like that word homeless. I say disenfranchised, right? Because that homeless brings other stigmas that I don't want attached, right? But they're the ones that go out and feed our brothers and sisters that don't have a home due to whatever condition or state of mind that they're in. Islam? But for whatever reason, they've opted out. They're outside of the constitutional fold of government. Islam? Why the Moorish American Muslims have to come back to power, right? Because in a situation like Atlanta, when you have over 40,000 homeless people here, disenfranchised people here, over 40,000. They were talking about closing the Peachtree and Pine homeless shelter, right? Now y'all have seen the back street of it on, was that Cortland? When it was open. Now imagine when it's closed. Where those brothers and sisters gonna go? What they gonna do, right? And who even cares enough to speak and be the voice for them?